The Red Cross is an international humanitarian organization on which special hopes are pinned. This is due mainly to the fact that the Red Cross should provide an aid to people affected during military conflicts. But has he done this always? The documentary by the German journalist Kristin Rütten titled Das Rote Kreuz im Dritten Reich, Vom Versagen der Hilfe, The Red Cross in the Third Reich, on the failure of help, was released in 2007. Valuable testimonies of eyewitnesses, former prisoners of Nazi concentration camps, Wehrmacht soldiers, Red Cross employees and ordinary citizens who in one way or another had to deal with Germany and the Red Cross before and during World War II are collected in it. As early as 1938, the complaints about the inhuman conditions in which the prisoners of German concentration camps were kept started to be received by the Red Cross headquarters. But the then leadership of the Red Cross left these signals without proper attention. The RC president Max Huber knew that the Nazis had been at the helm of the German Red Cross since 1933. But he continued to make money by collaborating with the German military industry. And the vice president of the Red Cross, Karl Jacob Burckhardt, was from the very beginning a supporter of Germany. Burckhardt visited Germany at the Hitler invitation in 1936. After this trip he shared his positive impressions of the visit, but did not mention about Nazi terror and the persecution of Jews. Moreover, in 1942, after the war started, when the World Jewish Congress got confirmation of its assumptions about Hitler's plan to exterminate the Jews and contacted the Red Cross, it turned out that Burckhardt had known about this for a long time. But there was no official reaction from the Red Cross. Red Cross representatives motivated this by the fact that criticism of Germany could lead to the occupation of neutral Switzerland. Although one of the most important tasks of the International Red Cross was the search for the missing people during the war, only the so-called Aryans were wanted in Germany. The millions of missing Jews were not subject to the search. In April 1942, the German Red Cross announced officially that the search for people of a non-Aryan race was impossible at that time and the Red Cross would not process such requests. Maurice Russell, the Red Cross representative, visited the Theresienstadt concentration camp with the permission of Heinrich Himmler in 1944. Influenced by the ostentatious excursion, Russell reported that Theresienstadt was a model camp, praised the excellent medical care and good food. Russell called the conditions of detention normal. But in fact, out of 141,000 people who passed through this camp, over 30,000 ones died of starvation and diseases. 90,000 Jews were sent to death camps later. The International Red Cross knew about the sending of Jews to Auschwitz, but remained silent. Only a few weeks before the war ended, the International Red Cross leadership managed to agree with the defeating Germany representatives that the Red Cross would deliver humanitarian supplies to concentration camps. Surprisingly, the cooperation between the Red Cross and the Nazis did not finish after the war ended. Part of the Nazi criminals went on the run in order to avoid a fair punishment. Many of them requested new passports in a fictitious names through the Red Cross office in Genoa and received them. As Buenos Aires was interested in German technology and workers, the Nazis went from Italy to Argentina. At the post-war times, the International Committee of the Red Cross, as well as many other organizations, stated they knew nothing about the massacres and how serious the persecution of Jews under the Nazi regime was. And Karl Jacob Burckhardt, who became president of the International Committee of the Red Cross after Max Huber, obstructed with any investigations in every possible way. There is evidence that Burckhardt removed some folders with documents from the archive during the 50s regularly. It can be assumed that these were documents that related to the persecution of Jews and could show the activities of the International Committee of the Red Cross in a negative light. It was only in the 90s of the last century that the Red Cross admitted its mistakes. But at that time all those responsible for the silence and lack of action concerning protecting the Jews had left this world already. Current events show that the Red Cross has begun to forget the lessons of history. Representatives of the Red Cross provide assistance to Russia, which unleashed an aggressive war against Ukraine and revived the filtration camps in the 21st century.